Hello and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, the Department of State Services makes U-turn on the release of the convener of the #RevolutionNow protest. Omoyele Sowore says that the persons to authorize action are unavailable. Appeal Court upholds election of Babajide Sanwo-Olu as duly elected governor of Lagos State, rules that Labour Party's petition against his victory lacks merit. Ahead of next Saturday's governorship elections in Kogi and Bayelsa State, INEC officials call for violence-free exercise as other groups challenge the electoral umpire on credible polls. And German Chancellor Angela Merkel warns citizens against taking democracy for granted as the country marks the 30th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall.
On business news tonight, Lagos State government to issue 100 billion naira worth of bonds in Nigerian capital market looks to leverage other asset classes.
On sports news tonight, Nigeria's under-23 team suffered defeat in their opening match at the CAF Under-23 Cup of Nations in Egypt, losing 1-0 to Côte d'Ivoire.
It appears the uncertainty surrounding the release of the convener of the #RevolutionNow protest, Omoyele Sowore, from the custody of the Department of State Services, the DSS, may last longer than earlier thought. This is because the Department of State Services has again given reasons why it could not release Mr. Sowore today, as it had promised and despite meeting his bail conditions. A member of Mr. Sowore's legal team, Barrister Marshal Abubakar, who led a team of family members of the headquarters to the headquarters of the DSS to receive Mr. Sowore, said that after speaking with some high-ranking DSS officials, they were told to wait, as the persons who could authorize Mr. Sowore's release were unavailable.
Freedom come by struggle, by struggle.
Yesterday, there is a statement that nobody has come to receive Mr. Omoyele Sowore from their detention. So we're also here today again on the ground that we are here with the comrades, the families, friends, and lawyers of Mr. Omoyele Sowore, and we're asking the DSS to please, in the interest of justice, in the interest of rule of law, release Mr. Omoyele Sowore to us to go with him. We've been here for the past 2 hours or thereabouts, and we are demanding that Mr. Sowore be released to the lawyers and the families of Mr. Omoyele Sowore in line with the orders of the court. They have acknowledged the fact that they've received the said court orders. They've also acknowledged the fact that we've been here on 2-3 occasions. And they also told us that they're going to comply with the said court orders. We have called all the authorities who we've been assessing over the years at the DSS here. And they told us to wait that they're going to comply. So we're here waiting for compliance with the said court order.
Meanwhile, the National Human Rights Commission is not taking the decision by the DSS to delay the release of Omoyele Sowore lightly and has asked the law enforcement agents to stop desecrating the judiciary. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Tony Ojukwu, cautioned in a statement that there is a need for the three arms of the government to work with utmost respect for each other, as envisaged under the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. According to him, the Constitution guarantees the innocence of every citizen of Nigeria until proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. He described the security agents who continuously disobey court orders as judges unto themselves, which does not augur well for the nation's democracy based on separation of powers and the rule of law. Still on the judiciary, the Court of Appeal in Lagos today dismissed an appeal filed by Labour Party challenging the judgment of the governorship election petition tribunal, which affirmed the election of Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu as the governor of Lagos State. In a unanimous decision, the appellate court held that the appeal lodged by the Labour Party lacked merit, even on appeal. Labour Party and its governorship candidate had appealed the judgment of Election Petition Tribunal delivered on September the 23rd, 2019, insisting that Governor Sanwo-Olu was not qualified to contest the election held in March 2019 and that the governor did not win the election. But Justice Hannatu Sankei, who read the lead judgment of the 5-man panel of justices of the appeal court, specifically affirmed the decision reached by the governorship tribunal. According to the court, the appellant, that's the Labour Party, failed to produce any oral or documentary evidence through witnesses and other channels to establish the fact that Governor Sanwo-Olu was not qualified to contest the elections or did not win the governorship elections. The court further ruled that the petitioner went on a Colombian journey of making assertions without making any proof for it, and thereby dismissed the appeal in its entirety. The appellate court also upheld the tribunal's decision that no proof of allegations of collusion and assault against officers of the Nigerian army was provided by the appellant, adding that no sufficient facts was provided to substantiate allegations of electoral malpractices at the polling units against the respondents. Meanwhile, the Court of Appeal sitting in Calabar, Cross River State, has ordered a rerun election in Sanwo-Udim local government area of Akwa Ibom State for the Akwa Ibom Northwest senatorial seat. Sanwo-Udim is one of the councils where Senator Godswill Akpabio of the All Progressives Congress, APC, lost to Senator Christopher Ekpeong in the February 23rd election. Senator Akpabio, who is currently the Minister of the Niger Delta Affairs, had gone to the upper court to challenge the ruling of the National and State Houses of Assembly election petition tribunals in Uyo, which affirmed the victory of Senator Ekpeong of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. In its judgment delivered today, the court declared as invalid the declaration of Christopher Ekpeong as the winner of the election and the senator representing Akwa Ibom Northwest Senatorial District. It therefore ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to conduct a fresh election in the Sanwo-Udim local government area of the state within 90 days. And with about a week to the governorship elections in Bayelsa State, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in partnership with other non-governmental organizations, are calling on residents of the state to denounce any act of violence before, during and after the 2019 governorship elections. Speaking during a sensitization march around some major streets in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital, INEC's Director of Voter Education and Publicity asked the people to guide their votes because it is their future.
On November the 16th, the people of Bayelsa State will go to the polls to elect another governor to succeed the incumbent Mr. Seriaki Dixon. And in a bid to squash the projection of high level of violence that might occur during the exercise, the Independent Electoral Commission has put together this 8-kilometer walk across several streets of Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital, to sensitize the people on the need to shun all forms of violence and reassure them that the election will not just be free, fair and credible, but also peaceful. It is believed that violence could lead to low voter turnout in the state, as residents will be concerned about their safety. But one group of people pushing for a peaceful election are those living with disability, as they want to be a part of the exercise.
Most of the times, like especially down this Niger Delta region, elections has not been peaceful for anybody. You know, like most of us who are on wheelchairs, we go out to vote when one gunshot just, no way for you to find the nearest exit or to escape. So I come out here to show myself, even for those of my colleagues who are at home, that they should come outside.
As a matter of fact, the INEC Director of Voter Education and Publicity reminds residents of Bayelsa State that they have a greater stake in the election than anyone, adding that they should not partake in any act that could discredit the poll.
We're just telling the residents of Bayelsa to ensure that they vote peacefully, they act peacefully, they don't accept inducement, bribe from politicians, because if they bribe them with 5,000–10,000 naira, that is just enough for a day or two. And then for violence, they will not use their children. They will only bring other people's children to commit havoc, to commit crime, to snatch ballot boxes, or to be involved in violence. So we hope that Bayelsans will listen to us and not listen to politicians.
One other issue that could possibly put the Bayelsa State governorship election in jeopardy is vote buying.
Don't sell your vote. Don't sell your vote for 2,000 naira. Your education, your children's education in future is at stake if you sell your vote. If people come to give you wrapper for just collecting those wrapper and you sell your vote, the next 4 years you will suffer.
One of the lies that has been perpetrated over time is that your vote doesn't count, people can stay at home, but we're fighting and pushing that people should come out and vote, but not just to vote, but we're trying to change the narrative about violent elections in Bayelsa State, because we know that it's possible to make a change, it's possible to change that narrative.
We should identify a good leader, a credible leader, and vote for him. We shouldn't sell our votes. It's very important to know the power, of our votes.
As the clock ticks towards the 0 hour, all eyes will be on Bayelsa State to see if these appeals will yield the desired results at the end of the exercise. Dobra Timiwood, Channels Television News.
What could have resulted in a major fire disaster in Lagos today was averted after a truck fully loaded with 33,000 litres of petroleum motor spirit or petrol lost control and fell on the road to the airport. Eyewitnesses said that it took about 4 hours before the fire service arrived at the scene and ensured the petrol tanker did not go up in flames as it spilled its contents on the road. The firefighters were assisted by officials of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, as well as the police. The incident was said to have disrupted vehicular movement along the airport road as traffic was diverted to nearby routes while the contents of the tanker was being transloaded. In Edo State, South Nigeria, Governor Godwin Obaseki says that he deeply appreciates the active role that women have played in helping him achieve his objectives in the first 3 years as governor of the state. Mr. Obaseki was speaking at the Edo Women's Meeting, the first of events lined up for the 2019 summit commemorating his 3rd anniversary. He promised that the women will get a bigger role in the 2020 governorship election campaign.
The wife of the governor of Edo State, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, sets the ball rolling. This novelty football match is part of the Edo Women's Summit at the University of Benin Sports Complex, heralding the events of the 2019 Alawudao Investment Summit to celebrate Governor Godwin Obaseki's 3rd anniversary in office. Different women groups across the 18 local government areas are here to honor the governor. It's all accolades for the government of the day as the women commend Governor Obaseki for being gender sensitive.
Former Ministry of Women Affairs, now Ministry of Social Development and Gender Issues, through its Skill Acquisition Center, is training women and has made plans to train young persons in the necessary skills to take up jobs in the new industrial path.
Last time he gave us essay genders across the states. Every local government produced, and it was all just for women. This year he has agreed to do SSA genders across the states. Senior special assistants, only women across the state. So we are going to have that coming before the end of this year.
Governor Obaseki, on his part, underlines the contributions by women in the present administration.
Look at what we have done with human rights, with women's rights, with child rights. The person who has been driving all of that is a woman who is our Attorney General. Is it in healthcare? Is it in housing? Just mention it. Anywhere we have made progress as a government, the women have been there supporting us.
He promises to repay women for their support with bigger responsibilities moving forward.
We will acknowledge your role and we will make sure that we give you the empowerment and the positions you deserve. For gender, we have said women must be represented in our government at every level.
This year's Alawudao Summit, with the theme Delivering to the People, the Next Level, is the 3rd in the annual series. Like the previous editions, it provides a platform for Governor Obaseki to give a scorecard of his activities in office.
In part 2, after the break, more on women involvement in politics in Nigeria and advocacy of the United Nations Plus. Motorists plying the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway and other federal government roads within Abia State call for help over the deplorable state of the roads.